These are some of my very random but controversial opinions. Nobody asked for this video, but I just got the idea to make it, so why the hell not? In case you didn't know, my name is Sora. I'm an American, but I live in the Netherlands now for almost 7 years. I also grew up in an ultra-Orthodox Jewish sect called Chabad Lubavitch. I have several videos on that. And yeah, let's get into it. I guess we can start with number one, related to coffee. I don't get why people are so interested in how people take their coffee, and people are like, if you put syrup in your coffee or a lot of milk in your coffee, it's not coffee. Why does it bother you so much how people drink their coffee? You drink your coffee however you want, and I'll drink my coffee however I want. I grew up with extremely sugary coffee. My dad used to have like a black coffee, and then he would put like tons of packets of sugar in the raw. So it would be like a very sweet coffee concoction. And when I got older, I started drinking black coffee, but I also like my lattes. I love a soy milk latte, especially with some kind of syrup. I love this time of year when you have all the different seasonal coffee flavors. So depending on my mood, I will drink different coffee. And I'd love to know in the comments, what is your coffee order? Number two, you do not have to shower every single day. I know a lot of people think you're like unclean if you don't shower every day, but I don't agree, especially as someone who barely sweats. I only shower if I do something active, or I'm in a gross environment, or I need to shower. Or if I'm really cold, then I'll also shower because it helps warm me up. But if I'm just working from home and doing very little household tasks, like maybe filling the dishwasher or something like that, I don't usually shower because I barely sweat. I don't really get dirty. I don't really get smelly. Yeah, when I lived in New York and I had to go on the subway every day and go up and down all the stairs, my office was also on the 4th floor, so I had to go up and down the stairs. I think I definitely showered more often. It's all about your lifestyle. Also, every single person is different. Some people sweat more, some people sweat less. I definitely shower more in the summertime, especially if I'm doing something outside and it's hot outside. But inside, I have air conditioning, and in the winter, I have heating. So, not that I get hot from the heating, not usually. So that was like totally off topic. You don't have to shower every day. It's really okay. I think people are very weirded out when they find that out, that I don't shower every day. Number three, there is nothing that tastes like dairy that is fake dairy. Okay, I'm someone that is lactose intolerant. I have tried so many dairy alternatives, and some are really great. Like Magnum ice cream, the vegan ones are really good. But there is nothing that compares to real dairy. When people are like, this cheese tastes like real cheese. No, it doesn't. I will say I do use soy milk because I'm lactose intolerant. I really try to keep the amount of dairy I eat to a minimum. I do use lactase pills, but they're not like magic, They only work to a certain extent, so I pick and choose which dairy I do eat. And there's only one brand that I do like their vegan yogurt. It's Abbott Kinney's coconut yogurt, and none of the stores around me sell it. It's extremely expensive, so I eat normal yogurt and I take pills, but I try not to eat it too often. But I will never eat a vegan cheese because I think that is disgusting. Most like vegan alternative products like cheese and yogurt and things like that are just really not good. Instead of heavy cream, I use coconut cream or coconut milk. It does have a coconutty flavor, but I'm not going to risk sitting on the toilet the whole night, for heavy cream. And while the dairy-free alternatives have come a long way, there's just nothing that will replicate like the flavor of dairy, and that's just the reality. The same thing with meat. Like fake meat just doesn't taste like meat, and you can't say it does. Like when people say, oh, I'm making a cauliflower steak or a watermelon steak. It's not a fucking steak, guys. It's not a steak. It is a piece of fruit that's fried and marinated, or a vegetable. A steak is a fat ass juicy piece of meat. Anyway, that's a little away from the whole dairy topic, but I'm very passionate about it, as you can see. Anyways, which number was that? 3. Number 4, there is no perfect country. There is no such thing as a utopia. I get asked all the time, in person and online, do I like the Netherlands better or the US better? And I always answer, there are advantages and disadvantages to every country. There's no such thing as a perfect country. It all depends on what you want from life. Also, how much money you make will greatly influence what is a good and a bad country for you. Your family situation, if you like the weather or not. It all depends on your politics, your values, and even really good countries like the Netherlands have plenty of disadvantages. There are certain things that I love about living in the Netherlands, but there are also certain things that I hate about living in the Netherlands. And the same thing goes for the United States. There are some things that I love about the US. There are some things that I really, really don't like about the US. But I wouldn't say living in the Netherlands is like 1,000 times better than living in the United States. It all depends on what you want, your values. There's so many factors that go into it. You should choose where is best for you. Number 5, working for yourself is not always better than working for an employee. I worked for myself for several years now, and there are definitely things that stress me out about working for myself, like the uncertainty of, not getting paid every single month or every 2 weeks. In the US, a lot of companies pay you every 2 weeks. In the Netherlands, you get paid once a month. When you work for yourself, you also have to do everything yourself. Even if you have help from family or friends, there are a lot of things you're still going to be doing yourself, like advertising, bookkeeping, all the administration, marketing, doing the actual work, talking to the clients, trying to get clients, the legal stuff. There's just so many things that go into working for yourself. And honestly, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. These people who preach on social media that you should become your own business owner, I don't agree with them. Like, for some people it works, but for some people it definitely doesn't work. Some people just want the peace of mind that you go into an office or you go into your place of work, you come home and you get paid. And this is definitely like way more peace of mind if you work for a good company and you have a good company culture. Number 6, you can eat whatever you want for breakfast. I had someone once tell me that I couldn't eat noodles or rice or something like that. I don't remember what exactly it was for breakfast because it's not a breakfast food. I have traveled to, I think, like 27 countries now, and many countries have different types of breakfast food. Like in Vietnam, they were serving noodles for breakfast. In England, they serve, toast with beans and a tomato and sausage and different kinds of meats. In the Netherlands, you have a piece of bread with cheese or sliced meat or even bread with sprinkles on it. In the US, I ate a lot of eggs for breakfast. I actually ate eggs for breakfast today. Well, it was more like brunch because it was pretty late. Number 7, it is incredibly disrespectful to move to a new country and not at least try to learn their language. I've been living in the Netherlands for almost 7 years. I feel very, very comfortable communicating in Dutch. My Dutch is nowhere near perfect. I make plenty of mistakes. However, it is not a massive issue for me to have a conversation in Dutch. Honestly, I don't even think twice about it most of the time. And I will say, when I first moved to the Netherlands, I also thought, I don't have to learn Dutch. And I quickly learned that I do have to learn Dutch. And it's not because I didn't want to learn another language, because my first language was actually Russian, not English. But it's because everyone responds in English and everyone speaks English. But you do feel better if you do speak Dutch. And if you are working with Dutch people, you should learn their language. I think it is really disrespectful when Dutch people go into a restaurant or a store in their own country, especially in places like where I live, where the primary population is Dutch, and they can't even speak their own language. I'm not saying you have to have perfect Dutch, and it takes a while to learn a new language. Some people learn faster, some people learn slower, and some people never master the language. But it's about putting in the effort, showing that you care about the people. And honestly, it makes your life so much easier if you learn the local language. And I'm definitely still learning, but it has helped me over the years to learn Dutch. But at the same time, I also don't think that Dutch people should be making fun of people when foreigners are trying to speak Dutch, because it takes time to learn a new language. It's hard. For some people, it's much harder to learn a new language, and for some people, it's much easier. I think Dutch people should appreciate that foreigners are trying to learn Dutch and honestly just cheer them on. And that's been mostly my experience. I have had some weird experiences where people are like, wat zeg je? Wat zeg je? Ik begrijp jou niet. Wat zeg je? Like, what are you saying? I don't understand you. And they're clearly just being really rude. And there are some very rude Dutch people who honestly just make it really unmotivating to learn Dutch. But the majority of people that I personally have met have been very supportive. And there will always be negative Nancys no matter where you live. So unfortunately, that is just a part of life. Number 8, I do not care if you are religious as long as you don't push it on other people. You do you, you be happy, whatever you want in your own home. However, if your children decide to start being not religious, you should not be punishing them. Not everyone has to do what you want. Like, if you want to be religious, be my guest. That is your choice. But if your children or your neighbors or your friends or your family or people you go to school with or work with or whatever don't want to be religious or don't agree with your religious values or whatever, that is fine. Not everyone has to be like you. One of my closest friends is still an ultra-Orthodox religious Jew, and we get along perfectly fine because she doesn't push it on me. I don't push my non-religious life on her. We respect each other, and honestly, we get along really well. We've even done videos together on YouTube talking about our ultra-religious upbringing and how I'm not religious anymore and she is, and what we agree on and what we don't agree on. You can check out my other videos on my YouTube channel to see those videos. But we live in completely different worlds across the world from each other. We have completely different lifestyles, and somehow we're still friends because we have that mutual respect for each other and that understanding that we don't have to live the same lifestyle. Number 8, I know this is a super random one, but I don't really get those people that buy grated cheese or pre-cut onions and things like that. Like, I feel like it is such a waste of money. It is so expensive to buy pre-cut fruits and vegetables, and you're gonna get way more for way cheaper if you just buy the whole fruit or the whole vegetable. And I understand that maybe you don't want part of it to go bad, but certain vegetables stay really long in your fridge or your cabinet, or you can even freeze it. Like, for example, I don't buy fresh spinach because it goes bad extremely fast. So I buy frozen spinach and I put it in like my stir fries and in my sauces and things like that. And if I do want fresh spinach for a salad or something, I just buy like a small bag and only use that because I don't want it to go to waste, unless it's cheaper in the end to buy like the big bag, even if some goes bad. But like, onions can last like a month or 2 in your cabinet. The same thing goes for potatoes and all different kinds of squashes and pumpkins. Also, like those pre-seasoned chicken and things like that, I feel like are so much more expensive. If they are on some sort of like deal, I get that. Like, I get it. But if you're buying like chicken breast that's seasoned and you have the same seasoning at home, like, chicken breast is already so expensive. But I do understand everyone's priorities are different and everyone has a different budget. As someone who grew up in a household where we made the majority of things from scratch because we kept kosher, it's just like a mind-boggling thing to me. Like, we never bought anything that was pre-cut, or like those potatoes in the supermarket that are like mostly cooked, but then you have to like fully cook them. I do kind of get the potato thing because potatoes take a long time to cook, and when you come home from work, you know, you just want to eat. So instead of buying like the pre-cut potatoes that are in the fridge that are partially cooked, I buy the frozen ones because they last a lot longer and you can just, you know, put as much as you want every time and then pop it back in the freezer. And I do think they are cheaper frozen than, you know, pre-cooked and in the refrigerator. The same thing with people who buy like 2 pieces of sliced cheese. I kid you not, they sell like 2 pieces of sliced cheese for like €1. I'm like, you can buy the whole thing of cheese for like €6, and it's yeah, €6 is a lot of money, but it's like way more cheese. And if you store cheese properly, it can also last weeks in your fridge, so it is worth it. But at the end of the day, this is not me telling you what to do with your life. It's just like something that I observe that I find interesting, and I just can't really understand why you would do that. But it also depends on your lifestyle and your income and things like that, obviously. Let me know in the comments which of these you agree with and which ones you don't agree with, and maybe your own controversial opinions. Maybe I'll make a second video with more controversial opinions. I have to think about it, because once in a while I'm like watching a video or talking to someone and I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually have this really random controversial opinion. So I thought I'd put them in a video together. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I hope I'll see you in my next video.